very hard to convert a Muslim because as a Muslim, in Christianity, if you leave Christianity, we love you, we're going to call you, we're going to hug you, we're going to buy you a gift. We're going to want to make sure we love you back into Christianity. In Islam, it's very hard to leave because you'll get disowned by your family or killed. So the only way for God to really shift Muslims to come to Christ, he has to do a miracle. They're very arrogant usually, they're very hot-headed, they don't want to receive the gospel. So God often they either need to see a vision or see dreams. And 200 Gazans just a few months ago saw vision of Jesus and now they're Christian. 1 million Muslims in Indonesia come to Christ every single year.
So I know there are radical Muslims and then there are kind of peaceful, right? So explain kind of the different groups.
Exactly, yeah. No, that's a great question. And I like to say it this way, not all Muslims are violent, but all Islam is violent. It's the same as Christianity. Not all Christians are holy, but Christianity by nature is holy.
So, so make it clear, the Quran says if you're not serving Allah and if you're not a Muslim, that you are an infidel.
Exactly.
It does say that.
No, it does say that.
Because people will argue and say, no, it's a peaceful book. It doesn't say that. No. You know what it says.
Islam masquerades itself as a religion of peace. It's not a religion of peace. Muhammad was a warlord. He wasn't a religious prophet. He was a warlord. He went on conquest, taking over countries by the sword. Christianity spread through the blood of the martyrs. Islam spread through the blood of its enemies. The Quran makes it very clear, kill the infidels. Wherever you find them, it says strike their necks. And that's why you see so much terrorist attacks. In fact, in Islam, if you kill a Christian or be a martyr for Islam, you are guaranteed heaven. And not just that, you're guaranteed 72 virgins in heaven. So in Christianity, we're promised, you know, you're going to see the presence of the glory of God. In Islam, the reason you see so much terrorist attack is they entice men. There's going to be 72 virgins living in heaven for you. So it's a completely different, like Islam and Christianity. When people say Islam and Christianity, we can coexist. Look, I love Muslims, but I hate Islam. I love Muslims, and I'm praying for Muslims, but Islam is a religion of violence and terrorism.
Well, you know, I was going to say this, babe. You and I talk about this in America. If you were to be faced with a gun in your face saying either accept or reject Jesus, now who would be strong enough to say, I will never deny Christ? There are a lot of Christians that would not be able to stand up under that. But living in Egypt, as you did, you had to face that reality every day, and so did your dad and
Exactly.
mom. Yeah.
Exactly. And people in the West, you might not experience, you know, death or that sort of persecution, but we in the West experience a different persecution. You might get hated. You might lose a job. Your family might disown you. And we experience that all the time in Echo Church, where people come up to us and, you know, they say, we don't like you anymore. We're leaving your church because of it. So in the Middle East, you might die for your faith. Here we get hated for our faith.
Yeah, that's what was so interesting. Like for me, hearing about my husband's story, hearing about what he had fled from Egypt, and I'm coming from Australia, and I'm like, huh, that's interesting, because in Australia, you have preachers who don't want to say the truth, they don't want to preach the gospel, they don't want to say the controversial parts of scripture, not because they're in fear of losing their lives, but simply because they're afraid to lose some followers or to lose some tithing in their churches. And so, and I love the question that you asked, because I believe that in the West, those of us who have not faced that kind of persecution where you might have a gun to your head, we have to make the decision now. I don't believe you can make that decision on the spot. I believe it's a conviction we must make now.
Breakthrough is a journey, and you don't have to walk it by yourself. There's more healing, there's more hope, and more truth waiting for you. Watch another episode to keep renewing your mind. Hit subscribe and that bell to stay equipped and encouraged in your walk. Your freedom matters, and we're with you every step of the way.